Yo, what is up, guys? It's Freddy Knows Ball, and we're back here with a brand new video today. Let's get right into it. When triangles are similar, that essentially means the angles are equal, they are the same, and the side lengths are proportional. So let's go into a question. The way I like to describe it is it's almost like you're zooming in, or you're like upscaling a triangle. They still have the same proportions, and the angle measures are still the same. Let's get into a practice question. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ, where A, B, and C correspond to X, Y, and Z respectively. In triangle ABC, the length of AB is 170 and the length of BC is 850. In triangle XYZ, the length of YZ is 60. What is the length of XY? All right, so for these ones, I like to draw it out. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. Now, once we have these triangles set up and we have the values of each side that we know, we can write a proportion. So since we know the triangles are similar, we can say 170 is to question mark as 850 is to 60. And if you cross multiply, you get x equals 12. There is one other way you could set up the proportion. You could also say 170 is to 850 as question mark or x is to 60. And that'll get you the same answer, that the side length is 12. Line XY is 12. And so that's all you really have to know for similar triangles. Let's do the next practice question. In the figure shown, triangle CAE is similar to triangle CBD. The measure of angle CBD is 57 and AE equals 26 times BD. What is the measure of angle CAE? All right, so we have right angles here. We have right triangles. And we know that CBD is 57. So I always like to draw these out. So if CBD is equal to 57, then we know CAE is also equal to 57, since these are similar triangles. It's literally just asking us for angle CAE, which we know is 57. And that's all for that one. That's the last practice question we have on similar triangles. So let's move on. Now let's talk about angles. All right, before we get into this question, I want to talk to you guys about every type of angle you could see on the SAT. These are quite important to know. So alternate interior angles are equal. Alternate exterior angles are equal. Supplementary angles equal 180. Complementary angles equal 90. And then just some extra things that are important to know. The sum of all the angles in a triangle is 180. The sum of all angles in a quadrilateral, or just a shape with four sides, is 360. And right angles are obviously equal to 90 degrees. Vertical angles are also equal, by the way. So with that out the way, let's get into angles. In the figure above, lines M and N are parallel. What is the value of B? So we can use some of the angles that we just talked about. All right, so one thing that stands out to me is that we have A in two different places. So that means that they're the same value. I'm gonna try to find out what A is equal to. If we look to the right of the 130 degrees, we don't know the value of that angle. What we do know though is that angle A in the top left is an alternate interior angle with the angle to the right of the 130. And so 130 plus angle A has to equal 180 because those are supplementary angles. And that just makes it so that we know A equals 50. Now that we know A equals 50 and we're trying to solve for B, we actually have all the information we need because triangles add up to 180, right? And we know that the angle that doesn't have a letter is 90 degrees because the right angle and supplementary angles. So A is 50 plus the 90 because of the right angle equals 140. Now we know that 140 plus B has to equal 180 because that's all three sides of the triangle. Therefore, B is 40, and that is letter A, and that's the correct answer. Here we have a little bit of a harder question on angles, but I think you guys will still be fine here. If you want to try it on your own, go ahead. In the figure, line Q is parallel to line R, and both lines are intersected by line S. If y equals 2x plus 8, what is the value of x? So what makes this one unique is it's an open-ended question, which means you have to type in the answer. You can't just guess. And also, it's asking you the value of x. It's not asking you the value of y. It has you find what y equals and then plug it into another equation, which is kind of just like some busy work if you ask me. But hey, the SAT is the SAT, so let's just keep it pushing. So let's just go ahead and solve this. So to find angle y, we can go one of two ways. We can either identify that the top right and the bottom left angle, the angle right underneath angle y, are alternate exterior, which means they're both 58. And then we can use supplementary to say 180 minus 58 equals angle y. Or we can say 180 minus 58 equals that top left angle, and then identify that those are alternate interior angles. Either way works, but ultimately we find that the angle y is equal to 122 degrees. So now that we know y is 122, we can plug that into the equation. 122 equals 2x plus 8, and that's going straight into Desmos if you ask me, because I'm too lazy to solve it on my own. And x comes out to 57. So yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do for that one. Pretty straightforward, and we got to implement Desmos, which is awesome. That is going to wrap up the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to like and subscribe, as well as leave any questions you have in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.